Hello, hi. Welcome back to another video today. Once again, to introduce myself, my name is Apostle Zam. Today, I'm back here with another video which I promised, and today we'll be talking about the enemy of your soul. So, who is the enemy of your soul? The enemy of your soul. Now, last time we looked at the light of the world. And who is the light of the world? And then we discovered that Jesus is the light of the world. And then, just towards the end of that video, I did talk about the enemy of your soul who wreaks havoc literally in your life, in everything. You really want to know who that is? Now, today, this video is the one to find out who is that enemy of your soul, who causes all the problems in your life by using people, diseases, catastrophe, you name it, he does it. And then some of you will be blaming God. You'll be having similar questions, angry questions like, why me, God? What did I do to you? I do this every day. But it's not God. God is a God of love, is a God of abundance, is a God of peace, is a God of mercy. And we're going to look at the reason why this enemy of your soul does this to your life. Why? Why does he do all these bad things to you, to your family, to your job, to your children, to your life, to your relatives, to your business, to your marriage, to your friends? Why does the enemy do that? Shall we find out? Right. Now we're going to start. Before we started in a Revelation where we saw when God created light, he said, let there be light, and there was light. And then we went to John chapter 1, verse 1 to 5, which shows God created, said there was a word, started with the word, and the word was with God, and he was with God. Who? Jesus. And everything was created through him, and there's nothing which was created which was not made through him. That is a quick summary of a recap of the last video. So for those who have not watched the first video, you can go back and watch the first video. The title is Jesus, the Light of the World. So today we're going to see why. Who is the enemy of your soul? Why does he do that? And then we see what kind of things this enemy does. Right. Let's get started. Right. First of all, we're going to go back to Revelation. Revelation. Now, we're going to go to Revelation. I will tell you 2 seconds. Now, who is the enemy? Revelation 12, chapter 7 to 9. It talks about what happened before the enemy became the enemy. And then I will explain to you exactly who is that enemy and who he was before he became the enemy. Right. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 to 9. It says, "And the war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon." Who is Michael? Angel Michael. He's one of the powerful angels in heaven. He fought. Angel Michael. I'll start again. "And the war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought back." Then verse 8 says, "But he was not strong enough." Who? The dragon. The dragon was not strong enough to even fight with Angel Michael. "And they lost their place in heaven." So, this enemy that we are talking about, the enemy of your soul, the enemy that I'm about to tell you about, I'm sure you have an idea who the enemy is. He started a war in heavens. He was very rebellious. And in the next chapters, we're going to see what kind of things that he did for him to cause that war and to be kicked out of heaven. He was literally kicked out of heaven, and he lost his place in heaven. Him and a third of the angels, because he caused rebellion. He caused rebellion. So, we go back, and the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent, called the devil. Did you hear that, beloved? Did you get the name of the enemy of your soul? Let's go back and read that chapter. Chapter 7, verse 8 says, I'll read the whole thing. "And the war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon fought back, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven." Who? The dragon? The devil? Basically, he was an angel, and once he started fighting, he caused rebellion. He became the ancient serpent, the dragon, the devil. He has quite a few names there. Or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Now, beloved, let's unpack that for a minute. Before we unpack this is Revelation. Revelation was in the beginning of the time of the Bible, when, earth was created, Adam was created, and Eve. So this ancient serpent went and deceived Eve, the woman, to eat the tree of knowledge, which was, the Lord said, you can have everything, but you shall not eat on the tree of the knowledge. If you do so, you shall die. This ancient serpent, before he was kicked out, here's what he did. He went and deceived Eve. Oh, did he tell you that you cannot eat on the tree of the knowledge? Surely if you eat it, you shall not die. Do you hear how he deceives? Surely if you eat on it, you will not die, because you will have knowledge of good and evil. That's how he deceived Eve. And she ate the fruit. And she went and convinced Adam to eat the fruit as well. And guess what? That's where man sinned first, and that's where death started from. And the great serpent was cast, that he shall always eat dust. And his legs, he will always walk on his tummy. Basically a snake. A serpent is a snake. A snake doesn't have legs because he was cast by God for deceiving Eve to eat the fruit. And then I will get you the reference for that. So you can go and read that. And you know, so there's quite a few, or I will link, I'll put the reference down there on the video so you can go and read that. But in the meantime, what we're going to do, we're going to go on the next chapter where this great dragon, the ancient serpent, who started war in heaven, and he was kicked out of heaven. And once he was kicked out of heaven, he was hauled down to earth. To do what? Because he didn't have any more space in heaven, beloved. So where would he go? He had nowhere else to go. And then he became so angry. But what did he do? You might ask me, what did this serpent do? And who was he before he became a serpent? That's what we're going to find out. Now, if you turn to your Bibles, you go on to Isaiah 14 verse 12 to 17. It says, this is what God told the dragon. Who was the dragon? This is what God says. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of dawn. You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low the nations, you said in your heart. This is what the serpent said before the war broke out in heaven, in Revelation. This is what he did before he was kicked out. He was planning to take over God's kingdom. Can you imagine? You get created and you want to take over? Is he for real? And God tells him, how you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of dawn. You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low the nations, you said in your heart. This is what the devil said in his heart. Before the devil became the devil, he was an angel. He was an angel called Lucifer. Lucifer was called Lucifer, the morning star, as God has mentioned there, and we shall find out another place where he was called Lucifer. He was the most beautiful angel, most loved, most adored, most given all the beauty and everything. Was the most adorned, all the jewelries and everything. He was the most beautiful angel with the most beautiful voice. And then will come about that, the beautiful voice with a very beautiful singing voice. And that's where all this music of the world, most of it come from. We'll come to that. Hold that thought. So, this is what Lucifer, the morning star, declared. And he said, when God said, how you have fallen from heaven, Lucifer, son of dawn. And then he declared, because of his anger, this is what he said, I will ascend to heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. Do you hear that? I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly on the utmost height. We will explain that. I will ascend above the top of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Beloved, this is Lucifer. He's declaring to take over God's empire. God, the creator who created him, now and he gave him a little bit of powers, and now he thinks, yeah, I'm powerful, because he was the most beautiful cherub guarding quite a lot of things. So when they gave him some power, he became so proud. Pride is the first thing that makes a man fall. That's what made Lucifer fall. After pride, they say, after pride comes a hard fall. Where does that come from? Where does that saying come from? From the father of lies. It started from Lucifer, the morning star. Pride. He was very proudful because he was beautiful, the most beautiful among the angels, because he had the most beautiful voice. He had everything. And instead of glorifying God, he wanted other angels to bow down to him. And he started recruiting angels, literally. And a third of his angels, a third of the heavenly angels, they bowed to his ideas. And together they were cast down, fought by angel Michael, and the angel Michael defeated Lucifer, and he lost his place in heaven. He can never go back. He lost that. He will never gain back that glory of God ever. What does that mean? We have a lot to unpack about that. So he declared everything. I will, I will, I will, I will. He wants to take over. He will build his throne above the stars of God, the stars of God above the angels of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly on the most height. He says, I will ascend to the top of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Now that last statement, beloved, is full of weight. He will make himself like the Most High, but he will never be the Most High, and he cannot be the Most High, but he wants to be like the Most High God, but he can never be. He cannot create anything, cannot create life. He was created as well. So the small powers he was given, so he thought he can take over and be like the Most High God. Even Lucifer bows down to God. Even though he did rebel, he knows that he is the Most High God. You see how big that is, the magnitude of it. So that is Lucifer, the morning star, who was the most beautiful angel, and he fell, the fall of Lucifer. That's how he was cast down, and in Revelation, he was cast down and he was cast to be the devil. I'll go back and read that for you. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 to 9 says, And then the war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought back. But he was not strong enough. The dragon was not strong enough against Michael, the angel, the archangel. The great dragon lost his place in heaven, and the great dragon was hurled down. That ancient serpent, snake, called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. Now we've moved from Isaiah, where we look at how Lucifer, the morning star, who became the devil and Satan in Revelation, what he did. He tempted Adam and Eve by turning into a snake. And he declared here, he convinced a third of heavenly angels to go on his side so he can do rebellion. And then he declared that he's going to fight against God's throne. And then he was cast down. And he leads the whole world astray. Now, beloved, let's unpack that for a few minutes. He leads the whole world astray. Have you looked around you lately in your environment, on the news, on the channel? The things, the wars, the diseases, catastrophes. He was sent down to lead the whole world astray. How? To wreak havoc into everybody's life. Why? Because he was cast out from heaven and he will never go back. He knows he will never go back. Why do I say that, beloved? Because he knows you and me, we were created in God's image. We were created in God's image. Beloved, he can never look like you. That should make you think, why do the devil really hates humans so much to the point of causing all this chaos? What does he want from humans? Because he knows if you get to know the light of the world, Jesus, you will go to heaven and you sit next to Jesus, which he will never do. You will sit next to the light. He can never do that, beloved. That should give you the power. And by the way, you have the power over the devil, but because you don't know. Remember, in the last video I did say, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Hosea, I shall remind you that. That was Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. Go back and reference that. Read that. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Now, because this serpent, the devil, Satan, plays on your ignorance, lack of knowledge, you don't know how much power God gave you, how much authority he gave you. Once you come to him, accept Christ, learn about his word. Did you know when you are reading the Bible, God is talking to you through his word? How else are you going to know God if you're not reading the word of God? And when you're praying, you're speaking to God. So he communicates to you through the Bible and other ways of communication. Once you start being so prayerful, and then God will bring other ways of communicating to you. In your dreams, revelations, anything. The same way like he was communicating with those prophets in the Bible. He will do that. But did you know that the enemy plies on your lack of knowledge about Jesus about the knowledge of him and how he was kicked out of heaven, and how if you start praying, you're actually going to be so powerful and he will be afraid of you and he will flee from you. That ancient serpent does not fear anyone. I can tell you he even tempted Jesus. So if you're there thinking that the devil will have mercy on you, think again. Think twice. Without Christ, you can't fight the devil. Without Jesus, you cannot win the battle with the devil. You have to have Christ, because in Ephesians, it says that weapons we fight, they are not carnal. They are not of flesh and blood. They are of powers, of principalities, of the rulers of this dark world. The things you cannot see with your own eyes, they are in the spiritual. So how do you fight this? Every time you are on your knees and you're praying for safety and this, you're saved. Like, you have the protection of God and his angels around you. They fight those battles for you where your eyes cannot see. We will come to that. Let's go. Now we've talked about, we're going to go to another chapter. We talk about before the devil became the devil, he was Lucifer. And when he was Lucifer, what was he like? I will tell you what he was like. It says here, that will be Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 12. Start from verse 12 all the way to verse 19. It says, Son of man, take up the lament concerning the king of Tyre, and say to him, this is what the sovereign God says. Son of man, who are we talking about? You can tell me. Now for now you should know. Say to him, this is what the sovereign God says. You were the seal of perfection. God speaks in parables, by the way. You have to have cross-reference to understand the Bible's word. This is what Lucifer was. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He was the most beautiful angel. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Carnelia, chrysolite, and emerald, topaz, onyx, and jasper, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and beryl. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. This is how Lucifer was treated, the most beautiful angel. God is describing how much he gave him before he threw all it away for pride, mere pride. Beloved, do you understand? Just something as such as pride can make you fall so hard like Lucifer. We will relate that one, how pride has made man fall from the kings to the presidents to the ministers. Relate that to the real world. You tell me. Now the Bible, if you read it and you look through to the normal day-to-day life, you will see what it means. You relate it to the day-to-day life. My people perish for lack of knowledge. We go back and say, verse 14 says, that's Ezekiel chapter 28. Now we're on verse 14. It says, you were anointed as the guardian cherub. Lucifer was a cherub, the most beautiful cherub angel. For so I ordained you. You were on the holy mount of God. You walked among the fiery stones, You were blameless in your ways. He was blameless in his ways. That's before he turned evil. From the day you were created till wickedness found in you. Hold that thought. He was blameless, beautiful and blameless, until wickedness took over his heart. Wickedness took over his heart. We've talked about how he became wicked. He went and tempted Eve. Surely if you eat this fruit, you shall not die. For the Lord knows that if you do, you shall only find out the truth of right and wrong, isn't it? So, through the widespread trade, you were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you. I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery stone. Your heart became proud. Do you hear that, beloved? Your heart became proud on account of your beauty. Ha! I was telling you about that. Yes, I've read that, but now you've had that. That's one big thing. Let's unpack that for 2 seconds. Your heart became proud on your beauty. Let me finish it a little bit and then we can unpack it. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. Beloved, pride, once you know yourself that, oh, I am beautiful, I am this, I am that, that is pride taking over your heart. Did you know that? That means you're beginning to see yourself as a god. That's what Lucifer did. Because he was beautiful, he became proud. Because he had power, because he could sing, he became prideful. He became prideful and he started literally praising himself like a small god. Instead of glorifying God the Almighty who created him and gave him all that he possesses for free. He didn't have to pay for that. Because of pride, because of his beauty, he became proud in his heart. So he lost his wisdom and his splendor, God's splendor, all the beauty and the splendor. When you have God's glory and the splendor, that's what made him so beautiful. So when he was cast and hurled down to earth, he turned, so the beauty and the splendor of God was taken away from him and he became a dragon. You see how ugly that dragon is? You see how fiery and fury the dragon is? You see how a serpent, a snake is? All the beauty and the splendor of God was taken away from him because of a prideful heart. Why? Because he started knowing himself as a small god above. For real. Those are the people who think, oh, now I know this, I want to take over. That kind of Pride. I'm sure you have understood that very well. Let's see. Now we carry on verse 17. Your heart became proud on account of beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. Because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. So he was hurled down to earth just to cause havoc, really. I made a spectacle of you before kings. He was beaten and hurled down before the rest of the angels. They watched while he was humiliated and beaten and hurled down and kicked out of heaven as before the kings. And then he became angry and bitter, and that's why he made those statements in Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 to 17, where he was so angry because he was hurled down, And then by your sins and dishonest trade, you have distracted your sanctuaries. So I made a fire come from you, and it consumed you, and I reduced you to ashes on the ground. So he made the dragon, because of his sins, he started spewing up fire from inside. That's why dragons spit fire. What is fire? What do we mean by spitting fire? That's like when you have this anger, rage, and all that. That's like fire, like poison. You're harboring poison in your heart. Do you know what I mean? So the fire, we have to relate some of these things from the Bible, and we put it to the day-to-day life to see what it means. When we come back, we'll be talking about what the devil, Lucifer, who became the devil, Satan, what kind of havoc he causes. Already he's spewing out fire. What does that mean? How angry do you think he is? So, and God continues to curse him and tell the dragon, I reduce you to ashes on the ground in the sight of who were watching, which was the angels in heaven. All the nations who knew you are appalled at you, all the angels, and everyone. You have come to a horrible end, and you will be no more. So, now you know about who is the enemy of your soul. In the next video, we're going to talk about the enemy of your soul. He has already told you what he's going to do. I will read this Isaiah again, and that will be the small part where Lucifer says how angry he was when he was kicked out of the heavens. And this is what he declared: I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly on the utmost heights of Mount Zephon. I will ascend above the top of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High God. And then 15, it says, but you were brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit. So he was cast down to the pit, beloved. He was cast down to the pit, and he is very angry. He's on the earth. As you can see, he was hurled down to earth. And he will make sure, he will do anything to make sure he takes souls down to the pit of hell with him, because he knows he will never go back to heaven. He knows he will never have that glory again of beauty. He's going to turn into ashes. So he makes sure that you, the creation of God, who was created in God's image. Yeah. Because if you go back, I will tell you now from the beginning, when God said, Let us make man in our own image. That is Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 to 28. It says, let us make man in our own image, in our own likeness. No, God said, let us make mankind in our own image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God gave you all the power and the authority to rule over the creatures, everything that on the earth, basically. So God created mankind in his own image. And he created the male and female. Beloved, we were all created in God's image, which the devil is not. And for that, he hates you so much, hates you and me for that he will never look like in the image of God. No, he will never go to heaven. No, will ever be close to the light of the world. So how angry do you think he is? So that's that for today. In the next video, we can start unpacking. We're going to start unpacking what kind of havoc does the enemy of your soul causes and how he does it. Thank you for watching. And for those who are just joining us on Words of Wisdom of God Ministries, I'm welcoming you. I thank you for all those who are watching, and I thank you for all those who have watched the video from the beginning to the end. And those who are going to be watching in the future, this video is timeless, is not time bound at all. Whenever you click on this video, that's when God has guided you to click on the video and receive this message of God. So you're welcome. It will be great if you go and read those Bible verses by yourself, so you can follow the journey step by step of reading the Bible. This will help you actually to learn the Bible, because you can't just read page to page. You just have to read from one page, and then you jump to another chapter. Depending on how God guides you, God will guide you. You will not know the Bible, everything. Even I don't. But we follow this journey together, the journey of salvation, the journey to the light, the journey to eternal life, away from the deception of the enemy. Is only a small, is not as great as he seems in the Bible there, but because of the lack of the knowledge, which we are making you aware, opening your eyes and ears so you can know about these things. So you will have no excuse to say, I did not know, I never knew. Now you know who is the enemy of your soul. And we'll be talking about in the next video what kind of havoc he does and what techniques and tactics he uses to cause havoc. We've already seen one, how he deceived Eve, coming as a snake. Is this like a snake, a shifting shadow, that old serpent? And he deceived Eve. So that's the first thing. Pride and deception. Those are the two things which made him fall. Deception. And also he uses vanity, the things that you love, to deceive you. See how tricky and evil that serpent does. Look around your life and see. You will know what kind of things, the things that you are addicted to, Those are the things he uses you to keep you down. We will unpack that in the next video. Thank you for watching. You're welcome, and follow us in the Words of God, of Wisdom of God Ministries. We're here to walk the journey of salvation, the journey to light, the journey to eternal life, and you're welcome. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Bye.